Everyone, Paul here. Today I'm going to be talking about a strategy. I might have talked about this in other videos, previous videos, but this strategy seems to work really well, and I want to kind of teach it again for doing it for crypto today. I'll go over the other assets in other videos, but today I'm going to go over it again. I think I've covered it already. But we're going to take a closer look at this strategy. This is the LNL Trend System strategy. It's pretty custom, but it works really well. And the only thing you focus on with this strategy is once you plug it in, you basically focus on the lines and you focus on the moments when it crosses. There's also moments where you can look at it closer and get in for some scalps. So I'm going to show you how to set it up. And it leads to some pretty good results, at least what I've seen when I do it myself. Anyway, I'll teach you how to plug it in, and then how to profit. Okay, so to set this up, I would recommend doing this on the hour. So first thing you need is you need to have your LNL Trend System. So you go over here to the indicators, and you go to LNL Trend System. And basically, by default, it's going to look a little bit different. But basically, what I do is the only thing I check is show trend line, and I change neutral to white, and show HTF trend line, and I change that to white. And I remove everything else. It might come with show cloud and HD cloud as default, but you really don't need it. So I just check them off. They seem to be more of a distraction for me. So I have it set like that. Just those two options are selected. And then the next thing you need is you just need, I have CM stochastic here. You need another confirmation. So the strategy is really simple. You come in, and this works the best on longer time frames. And basically what you want to observe here is when it crosses, that's usually a good time to get in for trades. So if you notice here that when Bitcoin here crosses right here, you'll notice that if you rode this whole thing out, it would lead to some pretty good gains. So you focus on the moments when these two lines cross. And basically what it acts as is, what you can look at here, if you look at these lines closer, is the one on the bottom acts more as like a support level. So the price shouldn't go down from where the bottom is. And, it's the other way around too if you're in a bearish. Let's see if we can find bearish. So it acts as like a support level. So once it passes, if it passes, if it passes, it usually bounces unless it crosses. So what you want to look for basically is two different things. So I want you to pay attention to this line right here, this one right here. I'm not sure which line that one is, but there's two entry points that you can get in. The first one you want to see is if they cross. Now, focus on longer time frames for the best results. But if you see the candle crossing the line like you see right here, that is an entry point. That is a good entry point. And you can also see that that's the exact moment when the CM stochastic is picking it up as well. So you could get in here when you see it crossing that line, or you can get in here when it crosses. Either way, it's still a good trade. And you just write it out, and if you're looking at the CM stochastic here, you can stay in the trade as long as it doesn't dip below. And, it's the same way the other way around. If it's bearish, make sure these lines aren't crossing up. So basically that's what you got to look for. You look for a cross, or you look to see if the candle is pushing through that line. So we could tell a couple scenarios here. First off, here is a sell right here because we see the two lines cross and they all come down. It crosses down. And you could have rode that whole thing out from, let's see, where does it cross? It crosses right about here, and then you could ride the whole thing out. And as long as those two lines don't touch each other again, you should be pretty good. If these two lines are separate from each other, then you're pretty much in a good trade. If they're tight, you might find yourself in a consolidation period. So anyway, let's just find a couple of scenarios here on the hour, both with a cross and both with it crossing that line. So you see a cross right here, and you also see the CM stochastic, it's above, so you could row this whole thing out for some pretty big profit right there. And also, when you see it crossing, the line, you see that happen right about here. So this would be another good entry point. So we see that there's another moment where it crosses down right here. So you see it crossing down, so this will be another good entry point. You see that the CM stochastic is all the way on the bottom, so you know this is a good trade, and you can hold out for a long period. As long as it doesn't interact with that other line, you should be in a pretty good trade. You see it happen again right here. Crosses, so this would have been a good ride all the way up until it touches the line again. You see the CM stochastic touching right about here, which is another good trade. And you actually have a pretty good warning that it's going to start going up, because you see the candles. It crosses through at this point right here. So you could enter here or you can enter here. So there's big ones and there's small ones. So basically what you got to do is you got to wait for a cross, or you got to wait for the candle to cross through that line. So we see another cross down right here. So this is a brief one. You see it crossing down right here. So at some point it crossed that line, which would have been this candle right here. So this would have been the start of that trade. So you see another example right here. You see the candles are crossing through right about here. So this would be a scalp right there. And then you see it happen again right here. This is a brief one. You see the candles crossing through, and you got another good trade right there. Crosses through right here. And then you see these two candles. So these two candles right here will be probably where you would want to start. But then it does cross right here. So this works. What you want to look for is you want to look for crosses, or you want to look for the candles crossing on that line, either up or down, for you to enter the trade. And then you want to use your CM stochastic to kind of verify that you're still in a good trade. Now, I want to show you real quickly longer time frames and then shorter time frames. So we do it an hour, and that's the time frame I recommend. But if we look at this on a weekly, you'll notice that it works really well to show you when the bull cycle starting and when it's going to start coming down. So you see that happen right about. You see it cross right here. So this would have been the start of it. So if you entered here on the weekly, you would have been in profit. It shows you exactly when the bull cycle is starting, because you could have wrote that entire thing out. And my opinion is right now, for us to be in a bear market, these two lines have to cross, which I don't think that's going to happen for a while. It's probably going to continue to go up. But when we're in a bear market, you will know exactly when that is, because it's going to cross, and you'll know exactly how long to hold your trades. So if you see this crossing down on a weekly, you know we're in a bear market. If you see this crossing up, you know we're in a bull market. So you could ride the whole thing out, and you could position yourself to be in a pretty good trade when you see these lines crossing. So this is on the weekly. So if you want to do this for a shorter time frame for intraday, it works, but you have to be more cautious of consolidation moments because you will run into that. So you see it crossing down right here, and you see that with the CM stochastic. Now the same things I was talking about when you're looking at this on the hour. You want to look at that line. You want to look at that line and see if it's crossing. You see that happen right about here, and it comes down. And you see it crossing here. You see it crossing here. You can write that up. If there's any warnings beforehand, it crosses here. I try to want to look for entry points to see it happen before it crosses, but we don't really see that. We see it as it happens. So it crosses right here, so you could have come in here for a little bit of a scalp right there. So you can do this on a 15-minute, but I recommend doing this on the hour. So anyway, you use the LNL Trend System, and you use the lines to determine when to get into trade. I recommend doing it on the hour for the best results, but you have to wait for a cross, or either if you're not waiting for the cross, you want to look at that line and see if there's a candle pushing through on that line. That will signal the start of a change of direction. But me personally, I look for crosses, and I look for it on the longer time frames because that usually leads to the best results. You could do this intraday, but if you do it intraday on like a 15-minute, you run the risk of going into consolidation points and things like that. But anyway, if you guys like the strategy, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in future videos.